Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm on the MA Ceramics course and I'm going to give you a tour of some of our facilities and spaces. First up, we've got our studio space. So everyone has their own separate studio space. Everyone's work is completely different. Everyone has their own desk and shelves for storage, as well as being able to work on this table communally. This is our slip casting room. So we've got a casting bench here. As you can see, there's people doing all sorts of different pieces. We have a plunger with standard white earthenware casting slip. We've got a drying cupboard here for you to store your moulds in and dry your moulds out before using them for slip casting. So we've got fettling booths here for dry fettling, so you're not breathing any dust. They've got extraction, so it's nice and safe for anyone that needs to do anything like that. This is our glaze lab. So here we've got all our free-to-use glaze ingredients. These are mainly used for sort of stoneware glazes, but there's frits and stains and things available for other kinds of glazes that you may want to do, like earthenware glazes and such. We have all these bins. These are also full of glaze ingredients that we can use, such as whiting, ball clay. That's free for us to use. We also have equipment such as tongs if you're dipping your pieces to glaze them. We've got test sieves, sponges, sieve brushes for you to, sieve your glaze for it to be the consistency that you want it to be. In here we've got our wetback spray booth, so you can do spray glazing essentially. This is a heater. If you need to heat your work up before glazing it, that's really handy. This is our kiln room. These here are the communal kilns, where you can put items on the shelf and the technician will load the kiln at different temperatures. So we've got 9 communal kilns here, including 1 reduction gas kiln, which you can book to use. These are the communal shelves. You can place your work on the shelf under the temperature that you want it to be fired at, and the technician will fire your work for you. So we've got bisque temperatures, glaze temperatures, and if you use the MA kilns, there's some more, you can fire at different temperatures than these ones. So these are the MA ceramics kilns. When you're on the MA ceramics course, you have a technical instruction session where you learn how to safely set off the kiln by yourself, so you can book them and fire your own work. We've got a variety of kiln furniture that you can use or that the technician can use for packing the kiln, such as kiln shelves, props like this, pins and things like that. This is the throwing room. We've got a selection of different wheels that you can use. We've got bats that you can use if you're throwing. So we've got the smaller size Shimpo wheels and the larger Staffordshire wheels over there, and it's just personal preference. This is our plaster room. So this is the room where we make models and moulds out of plaster for ceramics. We have plaster lathes here for turning plaster. We have these tables for working on, so we've got a lot of space in here, for cottling up and pouring plaster, doing work by hand on the tables. We've got plaster whirlers for if you're turning on a whirler. These planks of wood, you can sort of create tile moulds out of them. We've got weights. We've got a whole cabinet full of chisels and things that you can use for plaster turning, hammers, saws, everything that you could possibly imagine. A whole cupboards full of fine kind of tools you can use for doing that, like finer fettling and finer work. We've got a jigger jolly machine here, and you can use the 3D factory to create your own profiles and things like that. So you can make moulds and on the jigger jolly and your clay pieces as well. So on a plaster lathe, you'll create cylindrical kind of items, so vases, cups, lots of things. Essentially anything you could create on a wood lathe, but out of plaster, and then you can create a mould out of that and slip cast with that. So we have 2 different types of extruders here. We've got this one, which you can create your own dies in the 3D factory. You can get them laser cut out of either polypropylene or metal, and you can insert them into here and you can extrude clay through them. We have a second extruder here, which is our wall-mounted extruder that does essentially the same thing, slightly different shape, but you can also make dies for that in the 3D factory or by hand in metal. So this is one of 2 clay 3D printers that we have here at the university. We've got this Delta Wasp, and you can create 3D models in 3D modelling software and print them in clay. We have a variety of other workshops that we can use on the MA Ceramics course. So we've got the woodworking workshop with lathes, saws, sort of hand woodworking tools. We've got resins and plastic, so you can make silicone moulds, you can cast things in resin. We've got the metal workshops where you can, create metal components for your work, or props or things like that. So we have the opportunity to sort of like branch out from ceramics as part of the course. So this is a 3D factory, which is a facility that we can use on our MA Ceramics course. So there's a selection of laser cutters, which you can laser cut into, laser engrave, back stamps, you can laser engrave into plaster, into fired clay, you can laser engrave on a rotary tool, so you can do cylindrical pieces and things like that. You can create profiles for turning, for throwing, you can create extruder dies for the extruder. So this is another area of the 3D factory that we use quite often on MA Ceramics. We've got a selection of 3D printers in here. We've got the liquid resin 3D printer, and then we've got the filament printers over there. Both are really handy. You can create maquettes, for visualization of any object that you want to create, or you can create molds and models 3D printed and then take them into plaster. Another great thing we can do here at the university is use our 3D scanner. So we could 3D scan objects, which is really great if you say you want to scale up a vase or something, you have a small vase, you could 3D scan that and then you could 3D print it larger and then you create a mold out of that, so that's another thing. Thanks for following me along on this little tour of the MA Ceramics and the facilities. If you want to learn more, you can go on the website or follow us on Instagram.